Hi there, welcome back to Crypto Studio. Today we want to continue video effect folder options, and we want to work on turbulent, displace and twirl, both of them together today, and we want to see what happens if we bring them on our clip, video or whatever into Premiere Pro. So stay with me, I'm going to show you by bringing turbulent displace, which is the next option, into the video effect folder, into the distort folder, and I'm going to bring it right on my clip. As you can see, when I bring it, some kind of movement on the picture or on the clip will appear, something like that, and it will be added to the source panel. As you can see, we have displacement. It can be something like this, called bulge or twist. As you can see, it gives you lots of kinds of funny ways, lots of kind of funny shapes, and even you can play with any of them that you like, as you can see. And by playing with the amount of that, you can make something like a kind of transition. I somehow use it if I want to make transitions for my videos like this. As you can see, imagine that I'm playing with this amount number. You can easily put keyframes on, for example, the beginning of your video or the end of the video, wherever you want, and easily make such a kind of transition. And I will show you how you can easily do this. So imagine I want to work on, for example, twist smoother. For example, I will put everything back. As you can see, it gives you a kind of funny way. You can even easily play that. As you can see, in playing mode, if you want to give a kind of funny effect for your clip or video, you can easily add it without changing any number, size or offset or complexity. You can let the video run or play, and you can have this effect on this. But I'm going to show you how you can use it as a transition if you're a content creator. Imagine I just brought twist smoother, for example, and this is what I want, for example. Or if you want something else, you can bring, let me put them back. For example, you can bring something like bulge and anything that you wish. So for example, I come here and I put a keyframe for the amount from the beginning, as you can see. But before starting the keyframing, actually, let me show you something. If you bring the size back to something like 2, the video gets back to its normal way. So if you want to make a keyframe, it's better to make sure that your size back to number 2, so your video and your clip get back to the default shape of that, so you don't have any other dysregulation. Because normally if I reset it, it is on 100 and it has a shape like this. So I get it back to 2, and this is where I want to start my transition, for example. And I easily put a size keyframe and amount keyframe, and I press the space bar. I go a bit forward, and in here I increase this amount and I increase the size amount. And as you can see, if I get back and I play it, you can see something like a kind of transition, a kind of movement is happening to my clip, and easily I can go to the next frame. Or even I can make it this fun, for example, this kind of funny way to the clip, and I increase the amount of the displacements, I mean the turbulent displace. And if I get back again, you can see something like a kind of transition can happen, and you can easily go to the next frame like this. Or even you can increase the complexity. As you can see, it somehow make that effect more complex. And even if I put some keyframes for that as well, let me go back to the first keyframe and I turn it on. I go to the next part and, for example, increase the complexity. And if I get back in here and I play, as you can see, amount, size and complexity all will work together. And if I increase the distance between the keyframes, as you can see, it will be more beautiful. It can be used as a kind of effective way for your clips. As you can see, it can be used for waters, for example. If you want to give a kind of effect to waters or rivers, you can use this effect by masking the river, by masking the water, or for example, wherever that you want to give such kind of effect for that. It looks like a kind of glass, it looks like a kind of water, and you can easily add it to the waters. Or as you can see, I increase the distance. It gave me a kind of transition way, and easily I can change my frame, or I can change my clip from here to the next one, to the new one. And by that, even you can start from here and you bring your first keyframes forward after your second keyframes, for example, as I did right now. And if I play it, you can easily see then it starts from here and it goes to the normal way of my video and clip. As you can see, it goes back, you see everything is getting back, and then everything is to a normal shape of that. It can be used as a transition. As I told you, you can set all your parameters, for example here, in the way that you want, but in a messy way, not in a correct way, because I want to start from a kind of disorganized way to a kind of normal default organized way, and easily I can push it from, for example here or wherever I want, to any other places that is necessary for me on my clip. But the last keyframes that I put must be a default and normal shape of my video clip. So as you can see, it starts from the messy shape of my displacement and it goes back to normal as a kind of transition, for example. So let me go back to here. For example, we have evolution, and if we increase that, as you can see, some other shapes will happen. They change the evolution like this. Or if I, for example, put it here, and if I increase or decrease the degree of this evolution, you can see easily the effect and what happens exactly on your video clip. So the evolution options are cycle evolution. If you just do it, you can easily see that you can it has only just one cycle in revolutions, and random speed, you can increase the speed of that, you can change. But I myself technically do not touch any of these things if I want to just make a kind of transition or effect on water or glass or something like this. And for pinning, you can see it has all pins, but easily you can come to the pin horizontal or vertical. As you can see, the pin is changed, and if it goes forward, those pins that the small changes or the small curves are happening on the video clip will be vertical. Or easily you can pin them left, for example. If I go forward, maybe you can slightly see what is happening as a kind of transition if it is going forward to go to the normal shape of my video clip. But nothing special, nothing that much sensible will happen if I change this pinning. But if you just take care a little to the right side or left side of the screen, if I do that, let me show you from here. For example, if I change it to horizontal, as you can see, it is changed in this way. If I come to, for example, top, you can see this part is somehow changed because it changed it to the top side of my screen. Or for example, pin all locked, as you can see, these areas are locked somehow. But the best shape of that could be pin all. As you can see, it can be effective, it can be beautiful for your clip. There is nothing else with that. Let me delete it from here, and you can bring something like twirl, one of my favorite effects on your videos, and easily you can bring it on your layer. And as you can see, it has 3 options just, and easily you know it is clear what happens if I just change these numbers. For example, look, it can be a very good and beautiful transition. Even it starts twisting and twirling actually your clip, your video, or whatever. Even you can change the radius of that from for example, small part, for example here, or it can be from here, or whatever that you want. And the center could be going to the right or left or anything like that. Let me go back to the default amount. So now I'm going to make a kind of transition here, and now I want, for example, to start a transition from here. It will be like this and this much, and I think the twirl center is okay. I turn on all of these things except the twirl center because I didn't change anything for that, and I go a bit forward into the transitions because I want to make it transition. Actually, I say into the transition because I'm going to change this into a kind of transition for my video. And then I get all of these things back to normal. For example, as you can see, if it gets to the position that I started keyframing, it will be changing like this and go back to normal like that. Or even if you want to start doing that vice versa, you can easily again put these keyframes, go forward, and you can start it from this, this, and you can start it from a very small amount of twirling. And if I get back a bit, I play it, As you can see, this is moving like that. So I just did it somehow in a fast way, but if I want to dedicate more time on that, I can make it somehow beautiful, because when it gets here, it starts with a small amount of radius. For example, let me go back here, it starts with a very small amount of radius, and if it comes here little by little, I can increase it. And if I go back, as you can see, if I cut my layer from here, you can easily add a kind of adjustment layer for that. And if I take twirl, for example, from this, I delete it, and I delete twirl from this as well. I bring kind of adjustment layer. This is a text layer, but for bringing an adjustment layer, you need to come to project and to the new item and adjustment layer. If you bring it and press OK and drag it on your project, we have something like adjustment layer in here. We go to effects, bring twirl on it, and for that in here you can increase, for example, what you want, for example like this, and you press the keyframing, you can go a bit forward and put it something like that. If I play it, I have made a kind of transition, as you can see, like this. So you can easily increase this amount of layer, for example, and you add more distance between them. And if I play it, as you can see, something like a kind of transition is happening. If I go back again, nothing happened on my main layers or on my main clips, but I brought a kind of adjustment layer and I added twirl on this, and the video will change or gives a kind of transition way on my clip, as you can see. But normally, why this happened, as you can see, if I get back and I go forward, when the adjustment layer comes, so something like this happened. That is because I started my layer by this shape. So it's better to start it like this and then do it something like that. Because normally, if I want to start my adjustment layer, it mustn't actually have any changes, because while the video is going into the adjustment layer, it has the default shape of itself. So when it comes to the adjustment layer must start with the default shape of the video as well. So as you can see, the video is like this and it is on the blue part. As you can see, when it comes to adjustment layer, the adjustment layer must have exactly the same shape, because we're not going to change anything, it's a transition. And then the keyframing must start from where we want. For example, we want it from here, and as you can see, it moves something like that. Because I added another keyframe, it changed a kind of reverse form for my adjustment layer and my clip. So I can easily delete the last keyframes, and you can see that the reverse part, because it started twisting and turning to the right part, and then it started getting back to the left part, because I added two kinds of keyframe, one to the right, one to the left. So I deleted one of the sets of the keyframes, and if I get back to the beginning of this adjustment layer, you can easily see if it gets to the layer, it starts like this, then it finishes like this. So if I want to finish this keyframing, it must be exactly finished at the end of the adjustment layer, because if it doesn't happen, as you can see now, the picture or the frame stopped. My adjustment layer is not finished and it didn't go to the next frame, to the next actually composition. So I need to bring, for example, this to the end of my transition adjustment layer and bring this to the beginning of that, and then as you can see, now it starts moving until the end of the adjustment layer. There won't be any stop or stuck, and directly it goes to the next part. So for making sure if that is working correctly, you can easily bring this to the end of your adjustment layer again, and if you play that, you can easily see it turns, there is no stop for that, and it comes to the end, to the next part, for example. It's all up to you if you want to change anything. Maybe you want to make this layer smaller, but before making that smaller, you need to make sure to bring these keyframing back and then make it smaller, because it cuts the keyframes as well. So now, as you can see, I made my adjustment layer somehow smaller, but the end of that, from here up to here, let me show you more clear. This is my adjustment layer duration. the keyframing starts from the beginning of that, but when it comes to here, the keyframing stops right here, and if I play that, as you can see, the frame and the video is stuck. It doesn't go to the next one because this area is completely empty, and as you can see, my lyre has this amount which is left for going to the next clip or composition, for example. So I need to bring it back up to, for example, here, and then put it in the middle. Now as you can see, it has this amount of space free and empty again, so I need to bring it as close as possible to the end of my adjustment lyre. So when I play, as you can see, it is moving something like this, and it goes directly to the next part. Again, as you can see, this is the small amount in this area which is empty, and this area is exactly where your video will stuck again. So I try to bring it to the closest part, to the closest area that is possible to somehow erase that empty place into the adjustment layer between the keyframes. So if I play, as you can see, something like that happens and it goes to the next frame. So this is up to you. You can do this like transition by bringing an adjustment layer and bringing twirl on that, or maybe you can do twirling or bringing this kind of keyframing at the end of this layer and the beginning of this layer. This will be a bit hard for you, it will be a bit time consuming. I offer to add that adjustment layer and do whatever you want on that to make a good transition. But easily you can bring twirl and keyframing of the twirl at the end of this layer and the beginning of this layer, so if they combine together it makes a kind of transition for you, and it will be somehow time consuming if you want to do all of these 12 keyframing for all the frames and the compositions you have. So that was for today. I try to make these videos short. Please subscribe me. If you like the video, please like it and share it with those content creators who started to work on their videos recently and they are somehow beginner, or even it can be somehow useful for those who are in advanced condition. So we will continue on wrap stabilizer and wave wrap, and then the distort folder will be finished. If you haven't reached to our videos, I mean the previous videos of Premiere Pro tutorial, you can easily go back to my channel and find the Premiere Pro playlists, and they will all be available there. So I repeat again, don't forget to subscribe me and hit the notification button to get updated for the following further future videos. Thank you very much.